Good evening. My name is Thurman Greco, and this is Let's Live with Thurman Greco, coming to you from scenic downtown Woodstock, New York, and also coming to you from Facebook, YouTube, not Facebook, although I do put things on Facebook once in a while. And also, it's very, very important. I think this is the Woodstock show. Everybody who comes on this show has a connection to Woodstock. So if you like Woodstock, you're going to love going to the YouTube show. And we have a guest this evening who has been on this show many times. Gary is a VIP. He knows a lot about keeping things going on our show. And we're going to talk about the coming year at the flea market, and we're going to talk about eBay. But I want to start first of all, Gary, let's talk about these goodies that you are designing and creating for the summer flea market, which is going to open in May this year?
Now, I was figuring it today. We're about 10 or 12 weeks out, so it's...
Is that all?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. We're going to have, actually this week, our winter meeting, in which everybody gets together and we talk about what we're going to do for the coming year. So, and that's what people with flea markets do. But what have you got here? You've got some of the cutest things. This is adorable. Listen, guys, you might want to think about putting in an advance order here because this is dirt. This is dirt from the Woodstock Festival. And how did you come up with this? What made you think about this, and how did you do these things?
Well, you know, and most of the other vendors know that are at the flea market, one of the first questions we get asked when people not from the area come into Woodstock, they want to know where the festival was. They want to know why the festival wasn't held in Woodstock, and other similar questions along those lines. So I thought, you know what, let me go to Bethel. So I took my friend Jill, who's been on the show with me, and she sells at the flea market also, and a couple of her friends. I said, let's take a ride to Bethel. So we went and we did the whole museum thing, which we've all done before anyway. And I said, I want to dig up dirt. And she said, what are you going to do with it? I said, I'm not sure yet. I said, I just want to have some Woodstock dirt. And I hadn't even thought of doing this yet, but I had some kind of concept in my head. So the first trip, actually, we had to end up doing 2 trips because we were trying to find a place where we could dig up dirt, where we wouldn't be seen digging up dirt because they don't even allow you on the field. I mean, it's like it's sacred ground or something. You can't even walk on the field anymore. So we went down to the right of the field. If you're standing in front of where the stage was, we went down that road, came back around, and Wendy and Jill's other friend, they kind of stood guard, and we dug up along the road. We dug up dirt, and actually rocks too. I took some rocks that I'm going to do something with. So we got these containers of dirt, and we go home, and that evening, Jill texted me, and she says, Gary, you know, that was kind of like a drainage ditch there. She says, I don't think we got actual Woodstock dirt. I think we just got drainage dirt, fill dirt. It wasn't really. She says, I think we have to go back. And we did, because as I got thinking about it, I said, yeah, I think they brought all that stuff in and filled when they did the road. It really is not Woodstock dirt.
So you just took it back?
Well,
no, you still have it?
I still have that dirt, but I'm not going to use it.
Not yet.
So we went back. No, we went back and we got more dirt the following week in an actual area that I know it was in a field in one area, and the other area where I got the little flowers, which we'll show. Because we picked flowers too, which I dried, and I'm putting them in pendants. Those areas I actually know were part of the festival where we got the dirt. As I told her, I said, it has to be real dirt. It can't be, because, of course, my one friend said, why don't you just go in your backyard and dig up dirt? I said, no, you can't do that.
You can't do that.
If you're saying it's Woodstock dirt, it's got to be Woodstock dirt.
Right. You know why? Because if you know that you have dirt that is not from where the festival was, it's going to show in you're going to tell in your language.
That's right, I have scruples.
Right, and your body language. You know, so you have to do this thing right. And these are darling.
So I had the little round. Did we show this one already? We showed that one. Let's show this one. I had these little round hoops that I had been using for other things. And I thought, I had a few of these. I said, let me see if they fit. And these glass balls actually fit perfectly within that hoop. So that kind of worked out really good. And once I got the dirt in there, I just had to figure what I'm going to hang from the bottom loops. And I knew a peace sign. And I thought, you know, it's rock and roll, so I had to find little guitars, and that's the way they ended up. I did a butterfly because of the Joni Mitchell song. So on this one has the little butterfly with the...
That's a cute one. That is a cute one. Now, what about these that have wood circles? What are they?
I was on eBay just looking at different things, and I found a lot, and the price was really reasonable because I see them quite often higher priced. These little beads that are above the peace sign, they're called millefiori, which in Italian means, milli means thousand, fiori means flower, so it's 1,000 flowers. And the way they make the beads, it's glass rods, and if you look close, I don't think Ellen can get and zoom in close enough, but if you look at them, you can see where there's little flowers on each one.
Yes.
And they're Italian glass, so they insert these rods into the kiln, and then they form glass around them, so they come out with these little, and it's called millefiori glass.
Well, now,
And I thought that just, they had, the larger ones especially have kind of a psychedelic look to me,
yeah,
you know.
they're fun.
And I thought that they would go good with these, and then the little pendants that I'm also doing. But, and these are bamboo tile, and I'm doing all the artwork on the tile, and then mounting the glass beads. So all
These
the
are
little flowers are all...
bamboo tile?
Yeah.
What is a bamboo tile?
Remember in the 60s, the bamboo placemats that they did,
Oh.
like the mid-century modern, the placemats?
Yeah.
It's the same type thing.
And then you,
I'm doing the flower artwork on them, sealing that, and then doing,
now what do these become?
I'm gonna sell them. I'll probably put a little cord on, just as little pendants that people can wear.
They're cute. They are really cute. And I like the blue ones, and I also like these.
Yeah, I think the black actually stands out pretty good
does. It
against
does.
the tan-colored background of the tiles.
So you're ready now.
Well, you know, I've been coming up with a lot of ideas. I actually have a couple other new ideas, but I haven't executed them yet, along the same lines as what I'm doing here. And I want to do more stuff with figure a few more other things to do with the dirt.
You were doing some paintings last summer. Are you continuing on?
Oh yeah, I'm still painting.
You're still
Yeah,
painting?
I got one big abstract one I'm working, or a surrealist one that I'm working on right now. It's, I don't know, 18 by 16.
And then you have the peace signs.
And the smile faces.
Yes. So you have a lot of stuff going.
But yeah, my brain's been pretty fertile as far as coming up with new ideas so far this season. We'll see how it goes. But I think these, actually everybody that I've shown these ones to so far, they said that they think I'm going to do really well with these at the flea market.
I think so. I think so.
The fact that they're eye appealing, they look like a dream catcher, and the added attraction of being able to take a piece of Woodstock Festival home with you.
You know, it is so funny. I get calls a lot because I work the phones at family, and I do get calls from people. And I tell them, I say, well, you've reached Family of Woodstock, and we're a little town, a couple of hours north of New York City. And then, of course, the next remark is always, well, was this.
Yeah.
And that's when I tell them, well, really, but actually it took place in Bethel, New York. There was a guy on the phone last night You know, sometimes they just don't want. They think that I'm trying to pull their leg. And I say, no, this is real. They have their own little convention center out there now, don't
Yeah,
they?
museum. It's
Yeah.
a museum. And they hold concerts too now.
Yeah. And you know, it's part of the trip. You can come to Woodstock, but you can go over to Bethel.
But the funny thing is, sometimes people come to the flea market, when you tell them, you know, it was over in Bethel, they'll say, well, how far is it from here? And, you know, 60 miles, about an hour. And sometimes they'll ask, well, how do I get there from here? And I was standing at John and Janine's booth one time, and somebody asked, and me and John were trying to figure out the easiest way to get from Woodstock to Bethel, and there really is no easy way. You got to kind of go around and get on 17, which is more down south of Woodstock, and John said there's really not an easy way. He said you can jump on 209 and maybe connect on it further down, but it's a trip to get to
You could
Bethel
put together a map and sell the map. The Woodstock Film Festival map to Bethel. And you could do it. Oh my God, people would buy it.
Yeah.
It would be a great souvenir. And then they can go off on their search.
Well, with my photo laminates that I do, when I have to do some of the Woodstock ones, I actually do have one that tells the story of why Woodstock wasn't held in Woodstock and why it eventually ended up where it did. And in the background, behind the story, it shows the map of here's Woodstock, here's Walk Hill, where they were going to move to, here's Bethel over here. And it kind of shows you the trajectory of the three locations
Yeah.
of where it was going to be.
Oh, God. So this is wonderful. We're going to have our first get-together tomorrow. So we're excited about that, and this gigantic snowstorm. And, you know, the snowstorm now, I always feel so good about these big snowstorms in the Hudson Valley, because we'll all go to bed, you know, Saturday night, and thinking, well, is it going to be 22 inches or 24 inches or whatever? And then we get up and the trucks are out and the streets are clean and the mail is being delivered and life goes on. You know, it's really nice.
Mm-hmm.
This doesn't always happen in other parts of the country. In other parts of the country, you can pay higher taxes, and when these big snowstorms come, you don't get mail for a month. I remember, no mail. The mail just didn't come.
Well, the thing too, down in the south, although it's changing, they didn't get snowstorms like we had. So if they did get one, they didn't know what to do because they don't have the equipment to plow,
Right.
to salt,
There was no plow.
salt the roads.
No plow.
But those storms are starting to, you know, penetrate the south more and more. My cousin down in Kentucky, actually, they're supposed to get hit with this one too. So they're supposed to get part of it tomorrow. I think it's supposed to start. So.
But we need the snow because we need the liquid. We need the hydration. So, you know, you do this, and this is really nice. You appear on the show, you make these gorgeous things for the flea market, and people come, and then they come again to the flea market to get your goodies, and they go to the Woodstock Historical Society to get your goodies. But you have another life. Can we talk about that?
eBay. I started doing eBay. Well, I always did mail order. I always mail ordered my depression glass. I've talked about how I used to sell antiques and collectibles and depression glass. And I'd emailed that, I'd mailed that cross country for years and years, even prior to eBay. There was a trade publication out of Michigan called The Days. It was all for depression era glass and pottery. And we would run full page ads, and there was a whole network of dealers across the country that would advertise in this paper. And that was back in the day where people would look at it, pick up the phone, call you, send you a check in the mail, and, you know, pre-internet, pre-anything. And then in around 1995, 96, eBay came along. And I started doing it in 99, I think 3 or 4 years in. and I was still doing the trade paper, but the trade paper folded up about a year or two later. But my friend Linda, who had the antique shop I was in Montgomery, her son Peter, who actually, he's out on the West Coast now, working for Apple. He was still in high school, but he was a computer whiz. He built his own computer at 15, 16 years old. And he would set us all up doing eBay. He would say, here's how you do it, and this is how you open the account. And at 16 years old or whatever he was. Like
So that's how you got into eBay. You got yourself a teenager that set up the account.
Yeah.
That's why I don't have an eBay account. The kid went to California.
That's right.
And he's working for Apple.
He's working for Apple and doing really well.
Right, and I just don't have those gray sales. It ain't gonna happen.
But, so I got my account opened up, and back in the day, eBay was kind of like the Wild West. There wasn't a lot of rules or regulations. They took fees, but if I was to list, say, this item here for $10, but I had another 10 of these in stock, I could tell the person buying this, oh, do you want more of those? I have another 10 of those in stock, and they would just send you the check for the total amount. Well, eBay's kind of put the stop to that because they weren't getting their cut on the other 9 items. So there's been a lot of changes of what they allow, what they don't allow you to do, and the fees have gotten really exorbitant now. I mean, it used to be like 3% they would take. It's over 20% that they take now. So it's a whole different ballgame from when it started. But people want to do it. The first thing you have to do, you have to set up an account with eBay. You go in just like you would open an account on any other site. I would suggest you go in and buy some items first on eBay and build up a little feedback, because people do look at feedback to get an idea whether the person's trustworthy to buy from or not buy from.
So by buying things from other vendors, you build up feedback, you get a reputation.
Yeah, because when you get an item in, not everybody leaves feedback, and not all sellers, but most sellers will. You can leave feedback. If you were to buy this from me, I could leave feedback for you for being my customer. And you leave a comment, and you leave a positive feedback, something to the effect, oh, paid quickly, wonderful customer, please come back again, whatever. When you get the item, you can go in and leave feedback for the seller. Received quickly, item very nice packing, whatever you want to leave a good comment. The only thing eBay changed with that from the 90s to now also, as a buyer, you can leave a positive feedback, or you can leave a neutral feedback, or you can leave a negative feedback if your transaction wasn't, as you thought it should go. As a seller, we can only leave positive feedbacks for buyers now. We can't go in and leave it negative, even if, and say you got this item and you wanted to return it. Even if there's nothing wrong with the item, the sellers have to take a return now for any reason. And the seller has to pay for the buyer to send the item back to you. So that's not such a good thing either, but it's what we are dealing with now.
So is eBay growing?
I think it's kind of...
It's holding its own.
Yeah.
What kind of items are listed on eBay?
Anything under the sun that you would want.
Does that include clothing?
Oh yeah, the clothing listings. There's way too much clothing. Actually, a lot of the vendors that started out doing clothing, they said the market's just been so flooded they're not making any money on eBay anymore, because there's just so much clothing on eBay, both new stuff and vintage stuff and just regular run-of-the-mill stuff.
If a person wants to think about getting an account on eBay, what kind of merchandise are you going to put in? What's a good way to start?
Go around your house and see what you don't want. Start with that, and start with low-end items. A lot of people, I shouldn't say a lot, but some people will go in and they'll have a very high-end item, say a really good vintage guitar or a very good piece of jewelry with diamonds or whatever. People watch, scammers I should say, not people, but scammers will watch for someone with really low feedback, fairly new to eBay, listing a high-priced item, because they're the ones that the scammers will look for because they don't have any experience under their belt. So what everybody recommends is go around your house, take household items or stuff that you don't want anymore, start listing those, and just see if you like the whole concept of eBay, because it's not for everybody. There's a lot of people that say, I would never do eBay again. There's other people that love doing it. I'm kind of at the point where I prefer doing this than I do eBay anymore, because I've done it 20-some years. You know, there's that burned out factor too. And,
Well-
I won't list for anybody anymore just because of the whole thing with you have to take returns, you have to pay them back their original price plus their shipping, and they're shipping it back to you. So, and I forget what the timeline is that they can, I think it's at least 30 days that they have to send out something back to you from the point that they get it.
Well, if you want to have something and you say that eBay is not as attractive as it has been, so what are you going to go to? What carrier, who are you going to use?
There's Etsy for this type of stuff, although they're allowing more older stuff. But I don't do any of those other sites, so I can't even comment on if they're good, bad, or the rules or regulations. But there are some other ones. I mean, you watch TV, there's a few that pop up on TV, you know, on the ads, you know, sell on this site, sell on that site. But I mean, you can still make money on eBay if you have the right item. It's just figuring out what the right item is, which is hard to do because there is so much. I forget what the number of accounts that they have now. It's in the millions. I think it's like 35 million accounts or something like that on eBay. That's both buyers and sellers, but I mean that's worldwide. It may even be more than that. And that's another thing, shipping outside the country. Some people like it, some people don't. You can ship to eBay's, they have a hub where they'll handle the shipping outside the country. You ship it to their hub, and then eBay handles the transaction from there, getting it to the recipient in whatever country they live in. But at this point, I just ship within the United States. And you can set your settings that way. We'll ship to this country, and you can choose what countries you'll ship to and which countries you don't want to ship to.
Well, that's a whole other world. And the only thing I've ever really sold consistently on anything is I sell books on my website. And I tried.
Now, your book's on Amazon?
No. I was unable. I went through such, and after a while I just said forget it. I didn't do it myself. I was using Lucy Swinson at the turning mill and something happened. I do not know what, but I just gave up. I said, obviously I'm not going to make the money that I could have made on Amazon, but I can't get into I cannot. My brain just doesn't work that way. And so I just use my website and I advertise through the blog. And so that's it. But the thing that got to me was that with eBay, I tried to list a book, because that's what I sell. I tried to list a book, and the guy eBay was trying to bid.
Okay, you listed it as an auction. eBay wasn't trying to bid. Someone else was trying. A buyer was trying to bid. Because you can list as auction, or you can list it as buy it now. There's two. I do most of my stuff buy it now.
Okay, I'm glad to hear that, because I did not know that there was a difference.
I have an eBay store, which costs me I think it's like $28 a month just for the eBay store. So most of my items, although I run maybe 100 a month as auction, but the bulk of my stuff just goes into the eBay store, sits there as buy it now, and people can go in and just buy it. I also offer best offer, where they can go in. If I have something, say, for $40, they don't like that price, they can make an offer of 30, 25, and I can either accept it or reject the offer. So you can do that on buy it now.
So there's
also
a lot of back and forth in a transaction.
It's not that much, because usually if they want to do buy it now, they just click on a button, says buy it now, brings up a screen, they enter the amount they want. I get that offer, and I can either accept it or reject it. If I reject it, it goes back to them, and it says seller did not accept your offer. And I think they can make up to 5 offers on one item, and then it won't allow them anymore.
What
So,
about the thing that got me, the international? Because I have sold my books. My books have gone out, especially my Healer's Handbook, has gone out to, I think, 36 countries, 36, 37 different countries. And I was able to do this because you charge so much for postage, and then when it goes to another country, the government charges an extra $20 for the book. That's postage for international.
is that postage or is that customs?
Or whatever it is. There was the postage, and then there was this $20
It's probably
service.
customs.
Customs. I have no idea. This is, you know, I love just going to the post office and handing them an item, and they take care of it. But I did charge, like, I think it was $20 or $22. So it just seemed like it was really confusing. It just seemed like there was a lot of detail to try to learn, and what I was doing for my website was very easy. But I still keep running across these people who are doing quite well with eBay, thank you.
Well, here's another thing when postage, which I should have came here and sat with your last guest.
Yeah.
Now, when you do a listing on eBay, you'll list your title, you'll choose a category, you'll list your description, then you'll get down to shipping. And you have to either physically weigh your item, because they want to know the weight of the item, and then it's optional whether you put in the dimensional weights. But when you ship it, you have to enter the dimensional weight.
Well, and if you have the, say it's a vase, you are, I don't know, a book or whatever, you have to weigh the item, but then you have all this packing that goes over it, which adds to the weight.
Yeah, so you have to either,
You have to actually pack the item up.
well, anymore, since I've done it for years and years, I can basically know about what something's going to weigh just by, holding it and figuring what's going to go in. But, and you can add a handling fee. I add $1.25 to every box as a handling fee, just to cover any overage or underage as far as the weight. So, you can figure it out, but as far as the dimensional weight, if you go over a certain size, it's going to bump you up, and a lot of times you don't know that, especially if it's a big item, until you actually get the thing boxed up and, do the length, girth, and
Do you use used boxes?
I use used boxes. A lot of people buy new boxes, but I go to the grocery store. If it's a small box, they have little orange juice boxes. I just wait as they unpack stuff and say, can I take some of the boxes? I go to the liquor store, use liquor boxes. The only thing is with the post office, you have to tape on a liquor box, any of the outside writing,
Right.
because you're not allowed to ship liquor
Yeah.
through the post office. But you just get brown packing tape. I just tape up the whole outside and use the liquor boxes. But I've always used recycled boxes. I've never gone out and bought.
Have you ever
Boxes.
tried to do anything through Amazon?
No.
I'm sure that it's gotten better and easier, because when I started doing my books through Amazon, trying to do my books through Amazon, it was a whole other world.
Yeah.
We're looking at 10 years, and it was so confusing that we just couldn't. And I'm sure it's gotten easier. They never would have succeeded with that confusion.
Now, I've bought stuff off of Amazon, and actually sometimes you can find stuff on eBay and you look on Amazon, and the price is a lot cheaper on Amazon than it is on eBay. And I think one of the reasons that is just the exorbitant fees that eBay is charging anymore to on the back end commission for selling stuff.
What can you do? You do depression glass, right?
Yeah, mainly.
Can you do that on Etsy?
I think you can on Etsy. Amazon, I don't think so. I don't know, but
What about Shopify?
I've never even looked at Shopify.
You have enough success with eBay.
Well, I have enough success at Mowers that the bulk of my sales anymore is Mowers in the summertime, and it's a totally different game that I'm doing at Mowers.
Yes.
And actually, I'm going to do, and I'll do a plug right now. My friend Jill is doing French Club in Saugerties the end of February, and she asked me if I wanted to do it with her, and she said we could get 2 spots together, and we did. So I'm going to be doing the French Club, but I'm not going to be doing it with the type of stuff I sell at Mowers. I'm going to dig out some of the antiques and the collectibles and that type of stuff, and going to drag that up here and do the French Club.
You know,
end of February.
I tried to get into the French Club. I could not get into the French Club.
Well, this will be my first time. I know Suzanne used to do it. Dorothy and Jill at the market did it. But
I would love to do the French Club, but I couldn't get that and the Firehouse. Forget it. I mean, they wouldn't even talk to me.
Yeah,
I took it personal after a while.
I did the Firehouse, but they didn't even do the Firehouse this year at the holidays. So I don't know what happened with it.
And I went over here to the elementary school. They would not give me an application to fill out.
Well, I know at the Firehouse, the last year I did it, which was year before last, they had these 2 young girls that didn't know anything sitting there doing tarot cards. So that's probably why they didn't want another tarot card.
They didn't get far enough to find out if I did tarot.
Oh, okay.
They just like were not interested, just not. And I, it's like, okay, if you don't want me, that's okay. I'm doing quite well at the flea market. I'm there as long as the flea market is open.
I told you last year, they didn't do it this year. Last year, Olga, Jan, and myself got shut out of the Firehouse because they said we didn't get our contracts back in time. But in the meantime, on the contract, it said you had until this date to get the contract in.
Yeah.
We didn't get it. It wasn't even that date when they said, "Oh, we're all filled up. Don't send any more contracts back."
Right. So and I have the only place I've ever been able to get into is the Coxsackie YMCA, and it's a fun thing. I'm learning how to do whatever, and right now I'm writing my tarot book. But I am interested in eBay because I do know people who make a living on eBay.
I used to do really, really well. I mean, I was packing probably 50, 60 boxes a week on eBay when it first started. And that's a lot of packing and a lot of shipping. But so far in the whole month of January, I think I've sold 4 things on eBay. And like I say, I have like 900 items sitting there, and that's what they do. They sit there.
Wow. Well, and
it's not just me. I go on the chat boards, and everybody else is saying, no sales today, eBay's dead, there's no, when are we going to start selling stuff? But I think they've changed their whole model of how they do things and what stuff they want to promote on the thing. That's another thing they started, which I refuse to do. You can promote your items at a certain percentage. So you're paying for your listing, you're paying your final value fees, and now they want you to pay to promote your items on their site. Well, to me, that's what you're paying your listing fee and your final value fee, is for them to promote your item, not to pay another 5, 10, 15, whatever percent above what you're already paying. And by promoting, it's supposed to put your items at a higher placement within their search. I don't know if that's true or not. I refuse to do it. I'm not going to pay to promote my own items when I'm paying to post them on their site to begin with, where they should be doing that.
And you do depression glass. Are there a lot of people that do depression glass?
There
on
are.
eBay?
There's a lot of depression glass on
The
there.
thing is that if you're looking around and you're trying to figure out what can you do, it's like somebody said, you go through your house, you find some stuff you don't want, you list it on eBay and you see what happens. But are there certain categories of merchandise that do better than others?
It's hard to say because, like I say, the categories are endless. No matter what you want, you can find on there. And unless you're searching for a certain thing. It's like jewelry. I mean, jewelry will sell, but you got to sell it cheap because there's so many people selling jewelry on eBay. Unless it's a really, really high-end, really nice piece that you're selling very cheaply, it's probably going to sit there and get lost in the mix. That's another thing. There's a lot of people that will just look for stuff, and you can't blame them. Items that are underpriced. They're buying them for resale. They're buying them for whatever. But the stuff does not pull the price that it used to bring, either on eBay. And auctions, there's not as many people that are bidding. They want to go in, see the item, buy it. Where when eBay first started, it was more of an auction site.
Okay, that's what I did with my books. I listed my books. I sold one book as an auction, and it was confusing, and I didn't ever do it anymore. It was just more than I didn't have the time to fool with it.
Did it go for the cover price, less than the cover price, or more than the cover price?
I think it went for less than the cover price. And I wanted to get rid of, I wanted to get in there, and by that time I wanted to get rid of it and get out and not go back. I was really, it was like very cumbersome. And so I haven't really pushed anything else. But at the same time, I realize now that there's a whole lot of merchandise out there that people do not go to stores for. And the question is, what is that merchandise? How do you identify it? How do you make it work?
Well, if you're talking new merchandise, they're probably not going to eBay for it. They're probably going to Amazon for it. Because, like I said, the prices are going to be more.
Well, I know that Amazon is filled with a lot of individual small business people. They really are.
And you get the stuff quickly. I mean, I order stuff, and I was going on and order stuff today. Actually, I don't have an Amazon account. A friend of mine orders the stuff for me. I find it and say, oh, can you order this? Because they have the Amazon Prime and all that. And she'll order it, and it'll be there the next day.
Yeah. Yes. And Amazon Prime is extremely important if you have challenges getting around. It's like, it has been a lifesaver for my husband. You know?
Well, I'll give you an example of the price difference, and this isn't even comparing Amazon to eBay. It's just comparing in the general bricks and mortar stores to eBay or to Amazon. There's a certain pen that I use in my artwork. It's a white gel pen, and I can get them at Michael's. They're $4 a pen, and Michael's $3.99. They used to be $3.49. Now they're up to $3.99. I go on Amazon. I can get a box of 10 of them for between $16 and $18 for a box of 10. Where in Michael's are $4 a pen. That's 18 compared to $40. I mean,
and the problem with Michael's is you got to drive to Kingston. You have to go there. I can never find a salesperson there. Nobody can answer anything. So you're in a foreign country and without a map.
yeah, especially if you're not an artist and you're looking
Right,
for something.
and you know
that
what you're
don't
looking
know.
for. Where do you find it? And it's just so much of a challenge. And they're pleasant enough, they're nice to you, but you're on your own. So it's going to take X number of minutes to get to Michael's. Then it's going to take at least a half an hour to stumble through the store. And then you have to stand in line. to check out, and then you have to check out. And every time I go in there, I ask myself, how much of your stuff is stolen? People just walk in, take that pin, and leave. You
I
know?
was in, I don't think it was Michael's, I think it was Hobby Lobby once, and I actually seen them. I seen somebody walking out with stuff. There was a woman that had spotted this other woman walking out with stuff, and she pointed out to the one girl at the front register who informed the manager, and the manager looked and just said, let her go.
Mhm.
I think they don't want the liability coming back at them if the person said whatever.
Yeah.
They're just letting them walk now anymore.
And so I just, you know, if the merchandise is glitzy, and I go to Michael's if I can't get it any other way, and I must have it today. But do I really want to take 2.5 hours out of my day? You know, so.
And what I noticed at Michael's around Christmas time too, they're not putting prices on the items anymore, even on the little tags.
Right,
And I think it has to do probably with the tariffs.
right.
Because if you have a tag with no price on it, and you just have it on whatever, they can quickly go in and change the price in the computer and say, well, that's not $7.99, it's $9.99.
Right.
Because they put Christmas stuff on sale before Christmas actually came, and it said all Christmas 60% off. So there was something I wanted, and there's no price on the tag. So I found the manager, and I said, can you tell me how much this is? He said, oh, it's 60% off. I said, 60% off of what? He says, oh, I don't have a gun right now. He says, take it to the front, they can tell you there. I walked to the front, and the line was a mile long.
Right.
So what I did, I ended up putting the thing back on the shelf and walking out of the store.
Right. So I think that even if sales seems to be sluggish, maybe eBay is beyond the prime, but there's something out there. I mean, it's much easier to do it with certain kinds of merchandise. You know, it really is.
I think smalls, because that's another thing with the postage on bigger boxes too. The postage has gotten so exorbitant just to ship big boxes. It's weird because to ship from here to California, it's expensive. But the most expensive state to ship that I've found from New York, and it's not even all the way across the country, it's just in the Midwest, is Texas. New York to Texas or Texas to New York, and I haven't figured out why that is. Because you would think the further out you go, like to California, that would be the most expensive. But it's very pricey to go from New York to, even on a small box.
So there's a lot, if you're going to try to sell something, there is a lot that goes into the sale.
The good thing about the shipping on eBay, though, there's a button that on the listing form, you click calculated shipping. You enter your weight, say 4 pounds. When it comes time for the buyer to pay, it pulls up their zip code and it automatically calculates from your zip code to their zip code and gives you the rate automatically.
Wow.
You don't have to go in and figure it out, and they don't have to go in and figure it out. And if they look at your listing based on their zip code, it'll show them before they even bid how much the shipping will be to their location.
So
that's a good thing.
that's a plus.
Yeah.
Right there. that makes it all worthwhile as far as I'm concerned.
As long as you click on calculated shipping.
Yeah.
Some people just do flat shipping no matter where it's going, they charge a flat rate, which you can set that also if you want to just do that. But shipping anything that's going to be in a large box, you want to know the calculated shipping, because as I said, the farther out you go, the more expensive it's going to cost.
You know, it seems to me that if you are working with merchandise that is in a specific category, that you can get your parameters all set up and it's easy. So already I'm thinking, rather than having a pair of shoes and a reclining chair and an oil painting, you do something.
And if you're selling similar items, you can list them faster. Say I wanted to list these, and I have a lot of them. I could do my first listing, and then that listing will go up. At the top of the page, or on your, it's called My Sellers page, you can pull that up and you click on a button that is Sell Similar. It will pre-fill all the click Submit, and you're good to go. So you don't have to go in and type out, and refill in the shipping, refill in even the description, just change the description a little bit. So if you're selling multiple similar items, yeah, that's a good thing.
I know I was talking about, I have a grandchild who was up at Parat, up in Utica, and she came down with a friend for Thanksgiving, and I was chatting with a friend. The friend's father was financially successful and was very happy to send his daughter to Pratt, and you know, that's a chunk of money. He made his money on eBay selling a specific tool for Volkswagen Bugs. And you know, it's like, I didn't know that they even made Volkswagen Bugs anymore. So you have, but there's nothing funsy or fluffy about selling a tool. But he's got it all together. He's got an assembly line. He's got his picture. He does. And he
filled a need.
He fills a need. Every tool weighs X amount of money, so he knows what the packing is. Blah, everything. So that's what you do. And so that's kind of like what I'm looking. I'm just trying to examine how this is working. Because I have a daughter who has a booth in an antique center, and she is like in another world. She's been doing this for a couple of years, and every day is a whole new pattern. But she has not even ventured towards eBay or Shopify or anything like that. But she's got the kind of merchandise that is there. When you talk depression glass, you're talking antiques. You're talking, vintage.
And breakables, which take time to pack.
Right.
But I've been doing it so long, I know how to pack them.
Right. And I'm not saying that that's what she does, but I'm saying that's the category she's in. She's not doing furniture, She's doing these other things. So there's definitely something to be learned, and there is something to be gained from learning to work that kind of sales system. I don't know how long it takes to figure. I know she's been doing the booth now for 2 years, and it's like every week she has gone another 100 miles or something. You can see how she's learning.
Well, you know who does eBay at the market, and he sells an item that's actually pretty simple to ship, but I haven't talked to him to see how he's been doing on eBay. Martin, with the postcards.
Oh, yeah.
Martin does eBay, along with doing the shows and stuff. And they're fairly easy to ship. You cardboard them.
Martin does the flea market. He does the shows. He's in an antique center somewhere in the winter.
And he does eBay.
And he does eBay. Martin does it all. And I don't know where he sources the stuff. I mean, that's a whole other world right there.
Well, they bring it to him. I mean,
yeah.
People who do this for years, I mean, people used to bring me depression glass. I mean, it's when they know that you do something and you've done it a long time, the stuff comes to you.
Yeah.
No matter whether you're selling glass or if you specialize in whatever, or postcards.
Yeah.
You get to be known and the stuff actually comes to you.
And are there other people in the flea market that do eBay? Is Martin the only one that does the two besides yourself? Well, but he does the same product. So I guess my question is, are there other people that do?
I don't know of any other vendors in the market. There may be some that I don't know.
Because you look at different products that people have in the flea market, and they have what I think are really good products for eBay or something, you know.
I know a lot of them have their own websites, and they do whatever they do, you know, having their own websites, but which is a whole nother thing to, you know, market and build up your following on your own website.
Well, and of course, do you have a website?
Nope.
No. You do eBay. I have a website, and I have been working with this website now for 20 years. And I did one of the first websites with Lucy. So it's, you know, she's gone a long way, and I have gone a long way too. But now we have AI. So our whole platform shifted. And I'm expecting that all of these people, the Etsy, the eBay, the Shopify, they're going to go AI. They're going to start pooling the algorithms too.
That's another thing with eBay. When you sign up under the user agreement, and it's in the fine print somewhere, you know, the 500 pages of user agreement that you sign up with, you give them the right to use your photos. You sign away your right to your photos. So if I'm putting up a piece of art on eBay, I'm giving them the right to use my photo of my piece of art wherever in their marketing or wherever they want to use it.
Well, that's kind of for advertising. So yeah,
But they allow other vendors to take your photo and use it in their listings, even. Because there's been people that have gone on the chat board and says, I have this listing, and it wasn't a piece of artwork, but it was, you know, whatever they happen to be selling, and this person's stolen my photo. No, they haven't stolen your photo, because when you signed up, you gave eBay the right to allow eBay or any of their clients to use your photo.
well, and then if they sell it, it's your item. So they're going to count it sold for you, and you're going to...
No, they probably have a similar item, but they're just too lazy to take their own photo.
Oh.
But that's another thing. There's drop shippers. Do you know what drop shippers are?
No.
Drop shippers are someone who lists an item on eBay, and when it sells, they order the item from Amazon and put the buyer's address as the delivery item address and have Amazon send it to them.
Gosh.
That's what a drop shipper is. They never physically handle the merchandise themselves.
They have figured out how to work the system.
But there's a lot of drop shippers that don't last too long on eBay, and eBay's kind of frowning on the whole concept of drop shipping now. So, yeah, there's all. I mean, we could sit and talk for hours about, you know, the ins and outs. But
Well, okay, I think we're running out of time because, we just have 6 minutes.
6 minutes.
Okay, do you recommend eBay and Shopify and Amazon, whatever? Bookstore, book club, I don't know. Do you recommend these companies to people?
I recommend eBay if you want to try it out and see if you like it. Some people like it, some people don't. I say start slowly, set up an account. As I said, buy a couple items and see what you think. Because some people really love it. I think I'm kind of burned out with it just from doing it 20-some years. But I do have one horror story. We got 6 minutes?
Yeah.
Early 2000s, I sold an item on eBay. It was a railroad mug. It was an expensive antique railroad china mug from like the 1930s. And they used to have railroad china on cars, on rail cars. The man got it and claimed there was something wrong with it. Sent it back to me. It wasn't my mug that came back. He had switched the mug. I refused the return, sent it back to him. He emailed me and said, think very carefully about denying this refund claim. Now, please, you better think very carefully about, denying this refund. I denied it. In the early 2000s, that's when you could go in magazines and order something, and you would check the box, bill me later.
Yeah.
He began ordering out of magazines and publications stuff under my name and having it sent to me. And this went on for 18 months. I was getting items in the mail and getting bills, and I had to follow up with all these companies. And 18 months this guy did this. He even called a septic company down in New Jersey and pretended to be me and was going to have a septic company come to my house to clean out my septic system, of which I don't even have. 18 months.
How did it end finally?
He
Got tired?
He disputed it with eBay. He disputed it with me. I think he even went to the Better Business Bureau. It was, I think what eBay did, they eventually gave him his money back out of their own pocket, but they also didn't take it from me. eBay said, we found in your favor, but I think they, just to get him off their back, they just gave him the money back, because then it finally just stopped. But 18 months it went on.
They understood that he was trying to get another, that he had sent back the wrong, he was returning the mug that was not yours.
Yeah.
They understood that. Well, that's something.
But my postmaster said, when the stuff comes in, don't open it up, just mark it return to sender, and bring it back to the post office. But everything under the sun, from collector's plates to magazines to, I can't even tell you, 18 months, just every day. Yeah, sometimes I was getting like stacks of bills like this.
And if he did that to you, he's probably done that to several people. Well.
And I even printed out the email and showed my postmaster where he says, you better think very carefully about denying this return.
Yeah.
Which right there tells you he's going to do something.
Yeah,
and
he's
he did.
threatening you.
So that was an eBay horror story from the early 2000s, which lasted a year and a half.
But that was your horror story. So now it's 2026, and you do not have others.
Well.
So we have a system which we are learning to work, but there aren't that many horror stories. That's a point well taken.
Yeah.
That is a point well taken. So I think I may still try some eBay things, just to kind of learn, to try to figure out how to learn it.
Set up your account. You do have to put your bank information on, because they send the money to your bank. You do have to put your Social Security number down, in case you do over a certain amount. The government wants to know what you're doing, and so they do need that information. You get paid once a week. If you're a new seller, they hold your money for 30 days, just to make sure that you're on the up and up, and that you're not going to, stiff them or stiff your customers. But other than that, go slow and list low dollar items to start. And
yeah, take it easy. Take it easy. Don't get all. And of course, I don't know how YouTube is working. I don't know how YouTube would work with merchandise. So it's all a way of marketing and merchandising yourself. Oh my goodness, we're down to one minute. Gary, thank you so much for coming. This has been a fun conversation. And listen, let's look forward to the opening of the flea market in May.
Well, let's just look forward to lunch tomorrow.
That's true. And thank you very much, Ellen. It's been a wonderful hour.
Thank you, Ellen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dad.